As you can see from the topic, it's very early Monday morning. Uh, Tuesday. No, Wednesday. Today's Wednesday. No, Thursday? Today's Thursday? Oh, yeah, today's Thursday. It's early Thursday morning, man. We're going to talk about Zack Snyder's Justice League. But not really about Zack Snyder's Justice League, actually. Something that Chris Wong was talking about this morning that I saw on his channel, Ping Pong Flicks. These are just possibilities. I don't think they'll become reality. But nonetheless, we're going to discuss it. It was a discussion, something like that, is that actually another channel covered, where there's a possibility that Warner Brothers may want Zack Snyder to direct the next Wonder Woman 3 movie. And I want to hear your thoughts on that. Um, and also the possibility that Justice League 2 and 3 might be greenlit. Okay. Now, me personally, what I think about this, as you can see from the cover photo, that's an interesting topic that I think we can just discuss. Do I think Zach would likely direct the next Wonder Woman 3 movie? No. Uh, I think Patty did a great job with the first Wonder Woman movie. And as I said before, I don't think there was much of a problem with the second Wonder Woman movie except for one thing, and that is the action. I don't think it would ever have lived up to the first Wonder Woman movie, okay? But the second Wonder Woman movie, however, I think failed in its depiction of the action scenes. I think that was the major thing, and I think Patty has a sense um, of how to do action. To be honest with you, but I just think that in this case, in this second Wonder Woman movie, there's always a lot of compromise between the director and the executives, and there may even be have been compromise between Patty and Jeff Johns how they decided to proceed with doing this movie. Um, and Patty's not really an action director, so I believe Patty wanted to. This is what I think. I don't know how true it is, but I'm going to just put out what I think happened. This is just an assumption. I think Patty wanted to get the action scenes, but she wanted to capture the spirit of Richard Donner. So she wanted to do the action, but in a sort of Richard Donner like way. Now, I don't know what happened, um, if that's exactly how she wanted to conduct it, how she actually wanted to do the action. Um, but maybe this was the way she wanted to do it, but I highly doubt it. It's kind of like Patty had a different way she wanted to have the Ares scene happen with Wonder Woman at the end of the first Wonder Woman movie. Okay, that was not the ending she wanted. The studio wanted a different ending, and she did a compromise. In this case, I'm thinking the mechanics behind how she did the action scenes in the Wonder Woman movie, and even the second one, and even that sort of where she rescued the children in this deserted place. Now, Patty has crazy ideas, I'm pretty sure. The invisible jet, for example, the invisible jet was awesome. Okay? Didn't have to be very credible. It was awesome in and of itself. I had to suspend my belief, obviously, but I was just following the story at the time, wanting to know where it was going. So the invisible jet part of it was great. Like I can break down the really great moments in Wonder Woman now looking at it analytically, but me as a person watching the movie and just naturally getting reactions, I'm not trying to be hypercritical and just following the story. Um, there were elements in that story which was just fantastic, right? So if I go hyper analytical on everything, I really enjoyed the Invisible Jet and how her reasoning, how the Invisible Jet became the Invisible Jet. It wasn't an invisible jet; it was just a fast jet, and by her um, sort of dispersing some of her godlike powers, she's able to make it invisible. So that's pretty interesting that Wonder Woman has those kinds of powers. Don't try to overthink it. Like there's certain things like magic where you just can't overthink the situation. Okay, so it was magic. So that's the rationale behind it, and I thought it was sensible, rational. Um, so the invisible jet thing was really cool to watch. Um, I understood what Patty was trying to do with the flight scene, and Wonder Woman starts to fly, aka glide, and how Steve Trevor words carry weight. And but again, that action scene was to me very stiff, you know, and I know why that was so. That was again because again, as she takes flight, she wanted to capture the Richard Donner, so she probably used Richard Donner techniques, simulated Richard Donner techniques, but it didn't come across like how you remember at the end of Wonder Woman where Wonder Woman was gliding off into the sky and that looked really awesome. Didn't look that way in Wonder Woman 84. She looked stiff and as if she was on some sort of board or something and she was, you know, making these motions. And remember, with action, it has to be very fluid. The fluidity of the motion is what makes it so beautiful, right? And as she's gliding on the air, sort of flying, gliding on the air in Wonder Woman 84, you want to have that fluidity. You want to have that grace, that gentleness. And because she was using particular techniques, um, that was very difficult to get to. And I don't know if it's that, because Patty's a very deliberate, very intentional director, obviously. Um, Excellent director. So it kind of backfired. I'm not too sure exactly. I don't think that's exactly what Patty was going for. When we look at, for example, the scene where Wonder Woman is kind of attaching onto the lightning bolts and gliding through the sky, that looked really fantastic. But for some reason, because they didn't combine probably the CGI with the actual actor or whatever actress, we ended up with a scene where Wonder Woman looked pretty stiff, and she didn't look like she. I understand what she was trying to do, but it didn't work out very well. And I could see that there were moments. I don't know if it was the budget or what. Moments where we had really sometimes the action was not always consistent. So, for example, when we had Cap when we had Cheetah fighting Wonder Woman, there were certain scenes which were just tremendously fantastic CGI, but mixed with real action. Action that was fantastic. I'm not gonna lie to you; it looked really good. And then there was other scenes where you could tell it just wasn't consistent. And you remember when you're making a top tier story, you want everything to look top tier in your story. And Patty's not known for action. What I mean by action, she's not. That's not her forte. She's a director. So I'm guessing that when she wanted a certain intent to go forward, that the people who were responsible for that were trying to get there, but they didn't get there. So that Patty couldn't really execute what she really wanted to do. I think that's what really it came down to. And I don't know if it was compromise. I don't know if it was the studio. I don't know if it was whatever. But the visuals that she wanted for certain action scenes, she didn't quite get. And I think that's why those action scenes look so clunky or stiff or whatever. Because I doubt that's what Patty wanted. Um, so that's the difference between the first Wonder Woman movie and this movie particularly. Because when you look at the Themyscira scenes, I mean, I could see where it wasn't the same standard as the other Themyscira scenes, but for the most part, you know, I'm mostly in storytelling. Some of the storytelling was clunky, okay, but nonetheless, the point is the action was up there. It was on point for the most part, you know. But then, the scene right after that was just hilarious. It was hilarious. It's ridiculous, right? It was like we entered Richard Donner's world, but not really. It was more to me. It was more of a parody of Richard Donner's World to some degree because Richard Donner's World suited the time it was in, and Richard Donner was filmmaking for the time he was in. You understand what I'm saying? So that it was with sincerity he did his thing, whereas Patty's trying to replicate that. So in a different time, doing a period film, and you can't just. This is just my personal opinion. I don't know if someone advised her or what, but you can't just directly replicate that. As much as you have feelings for that time, and especially in the action scene. See, everything else you could pull off, even the acting, and even with the acting, I thought that that the actors dialed it back from the Richard Donner acting because there was a lot of overacting in the '80s in Richard Donner's cut. A lot of overacting by everybody. Okay. However, in this movie, in Wonder Woman '84, to get the organic and there wasn't a lot of overacting except in the opening scene, which was just, and then in the world where we see people hyperacting and overacting, in the the catastrophe that's happening with the wishes and the wish stone. So I found that there was these elements in that movie that is particularly the action scenes. See, the action set pieces and the action scenes sort of took from that movie. That's straight up. I'm pretty sure if you just adjust your action in those scenes, Patty could tell any kind of story she wanted, but the action took away from the movie. And I'm pretty sure Patty Jenkins knows that. And I wouldn't have. I would if it was me as a director, and I'm not a director, and I'm not a great director like Patty Jenkins. Who am I to talk? But just receiving it as someone in the audience, and I know I was just laughing my head off. You know, if there was anything that probably would had me much more serious, and maybe even had me more emotional, because there were certain points in this movie which were very emotional moments. The when she met Steve Trevor, when she had to leave Steve Trevor, when we met I forgot what his name is, and his son, his relationship with his son, and striving to be somebody for his son, and for because his son lives in a home which is not the best. Um, those were very emotional moments, and even the finale of the movie where um, you know um, Diana is trying to get the people to renounce their wishes, and finally the guy who's I forgot what his name he is, the key antagonist, he even renounces his wish. I find that such a beautiful thing. This is consistent with Wonder Woman movies, where Wonder Woman is not really trying to hunt the big baddie. It's not about the big baddie. In all the movies, it's about something that's being taught. I just think that Patty would have done such a tremendously better job if she'd only, if she'd only kept or found, not necessarily kept. You didn't need to really necessarily go with Zack Snyder's crew, even though I think she should have done that. Um, but I think she was kicking against the notion of having a grounded reality and still being able to capture fully Richard Donner's world. She wanted to replicate Richard Donner's world on the screen. And if I was her, I wouldn't replicate it, but I'd try to capture the spirit of it. I wouldn't replicate Richard Donner's world because that's how you felt as you were a child. But you need to pull out. I would have told her you need to pull out the essentials of what made you feel that way instead of replicate. I think Jeff Johns had something to do with that. I think Patty wanted to go that route that I just said, and I think Jeff Johns decided to fuck her over by he didn't understand it. It's the spirit of the thing, not necessarily. And even when you want to capture some of those filmmaking elements, um, Jeff Johns is not a filmmaker. Why is this guy even? Anyway, but to capture the spirit of the filmmaking elements, I may be wrong. I may be just assuming, and maybe it's not Jeff Johns. Maybe it's Patty that decided to go that route. But I'm just thinking there are much more subtle ways, I believe, and I can give you an example of one where she could have used the film making elements that Richard Donner had to capture the spirit of what Richard Donner was doing. Take, for instance, in Wonder Woman, they literally replicated the way how photographs were taken during that time of World War One on these plates. They literally went back and did that, right? To capture the spirit of that time, the spirit of that time. They didn't go doing everything that, exactly how World War One was. Patty Jenkins took that model, or Jeff Johns, or somebody, I don't know who it was, probably Jeff Johns. Because I just can't see Patty doing that. I just can't see Patty doing that craziness that I saw. It sounds like a Jeff Johns idea. Trust me. Jeff Johns is saying, I want to capture the spirit of this world by replicating almost everything, to the T to this world. Because we did that in Wonder Woman, right? In Wonder Woman 1, we captured the spirit of that world. So now we're going to capture the spirit of this virtual world. And we're going to do everything, honest and dedicated to the spirit of this world. And Patty Jenkins was probably like, yeah, the spirit of this world, but we don't have to do every single thing, like the filmmaking technique, like that, like motion picture filmmaking technique to the spirit of that world. We don't have to do that. And Jeff Jones was like, nah, we have to. I feel there's a conversation like that because Patty's too good a director to go down that road just like that. She wouldn't take things literally like that. I just don't see her doing that. Not after she did Monster. Come on, man. Maybe it was her call. But it was one in which I would have thought she would understand to capture the spirit of the thing. So that so what do I mean by that? So like I would show you the spirit of the thing. Just like how the actors and actresses weren't over dramatizing certain elements of their relationship with, they kept it organic. However, they kept the 80s tone. They kept the world that Wonder Woman is in. Okay? You keep elements of the world, but you don't have to take it over the top. Like that second opening sequence. It didn't need to be so over the top. And you still could have addressed the children in an organic way. In other words, I felt that the sincerity that I felt in Wonder Woman, the first Wonder Woman movie, I felt like it lacked that sincerity. I felt like it was imitating another movie. I felt like they were trying to carbon copy what Richard Donner did. And it just sounds like an ill advised way to go. You don't carbon copy another director. You are authentic to what you do and how you direct. But you can embrace the spirit of that other director. To me, that's what it should be. So it just sounds like I can't see Patty Jenkins just literally going there, but possibly that's what her idea was. And it just backfired because some things back then were aesthetically pleasing, and now they're not. And again, if Richard Donner, think about it this way: if Richard Donner was doing a movie in our times, would he be using those archaic techniques? No, he would not. So, and even his world would be different. So, nobody asks Richard Donner what he thinks about the CW. Nobody asks Richard Donner what he thinks about, and nobody's asked Richard Donner because he's dead, but nobody asks Richard Donner about Man of Steel. What I'm trying to say is, Richard Donner did the best he could with what he had at his time. If he had the technology we have today, he'd do a hell of a lot better. Okay? Because remember, it's about storytelling. So I can't understand those choices that Patty made, but I can respect them and hope that at least action wise, story wise, totally different. Story wise, you're the director. You can do whatever you want story wise. But I hope she have better decision making for the action scenes, which she apparently she's not. That's not her forte. Her forte is not action, and she needs somebody who knows action and can really understand what she really wants to crystallize with her action. You know, because she got it with the opening sequence. She got it with the grand finale, the Cheetah versus Wonder Woman, to some degree, fight sequence. But man, I mean, the Wonder Woman flying was a little bit wooden, but that was okay. But I mean, that's passable. But oh my God, the desert scene, the second opening sequence. I mean, come on now, what's going on? What's going on with that? Even some of the sequences where the world's going nuts, and you know we have some really ridiculous choices where a guy wishes his wife dies and she got choked stuffed out. I mean, some of that stuff just wasn't like that. Sounded like Jeff Johns in there or Josh Whedon in there to some degree. It sounded like a male bashing thing or something, or female bashing thing. I don't understand, or marriage breakup thing, or whatever. It just was yuck. It was like yucky. It was cringy. And I'm just being real so that Patty can get some feedback on why Wonder Woman 3 probably got received the way it did, and probably was a better. It was a good thing that it came into COVID, so you could say, "Oh, it was COVID," because that thing probably would have bombed in the cinemas. I mean, it wasn't. I mean, no, it didn't. It didn't really cut the grade. That was a little fail on Patty's part, I think. And I like Patty as a director and everything, and I think she's a hell of a director, and I think she did a hell of a job on Wonder Woman. I just think that this choice and this direction was was mixed, and ultimately in the end, I think a lot of people felt it fell short. Now, having said all of that about Wonder Woman 84. Do I think Zack should replace Patty Jenkins in doing a Wonder Woman movie? No, I don't. I honestly don't. This is my opinion. I don't know. Everybody has their own opinions, but me personally, no. Why? I think Wonder Woman movie was a success because Patty Jenkins was directing it. Yes, there were people who were stunt coordinators, who worked with Zack Snyder and they worked with Patty Jenkins, and they had a lot to do with how the movie was grounded, at least in terms of action and in terms of physicality of the movie. And I thought that was fantastic. Um, but um, and Zach did the story, even though I think Zach had a different story, and they probably redid the story, whatever. And Jeff Johns had his hand in that, of course. I think the combination. See, a lot of times, this is the thing I don't understand about people. Collaborations will always be greater and better than non-collaborations. Zack's story was going to be a totally different story for Wonder Woman in some respects because it was going to be the Crimean War. Probably would have followed some of the same beats, but ultimately, in the end, obviously Zack's story was changed. I think Patty went a different direction, and thankfully so, because this movie would have been, even as much as Zack probably his Wonder Woman version would be awesome. There are just certain things about the Wonder Woman movie that Patty brought to the table. Her non-violent nature to some degree, and then her violent nature when necessary, that made that movie what it was. Okay, but you got to have certain dynamics. Like Patty, without certain dynamics for a Wonder Woman movie, it just don't rock. So that's what Warner Brothers needs to understand. They're like trying to get rid of Patty and bring in Zack, because Zack's the guy that can say, no, it's not like that. It's not like that. Honestly, it's not like that. And whether Jeff Johns got Patty in there or not, that particular choice on that particular topic is the way it goes. I'm being honest with you guys. Without Patty in a Wonder Woman movie, you're missing out in the feminine sort of aspects of it. You even heard Junkie XL say that Hans Zimmer brought certain gentle feminine qualities to the Wonder Woman theme, and Zach's just got it kind of like way gung ho kind of historic, kind of ancient stuff. So I just feel like there's certain elements that need to be there. I don't think it's just Zack Snyder's Wonder Woman. Nah, this again in the filmmaking process, it's not about this side or that side. It's always something in the middle. And I just truly believe on this occasion, Patty was the director for that movie, and the direction she went in was just the perfect direction for Wonder Woman. It was just the timeliest, best. Like it could you couldn't get it better than that. And it's still a hell of a movie, and I think that's just the way that was going to be. And I think you can't take Patty out of the equation right now. She is necessary. And if you guys got to wait years for the next Wonder Woman movie so that it comes out right, do that. Okay? Do it. Don't try to force the anvil. Don't try to get Zack Snyder to do a next Wonder Woman. That's just dumb. That's just stupid. Like Warner Brothers, come on, man. What kind of decision making process do you guys have? Oh yeah, well then Zack should do Wonder Woman. No. If you want Zack to do his elsewhere Wonder Woman story or something, fine. Maybe as an animated feature even, whatever. But no, don't just take. What are you doing? I don't care. Patty doesn't have the time to do it. You're gonna have to wait on her. You know, there are just certain people who are made to do certain things, and Patty's just perfect director for Wonder Woman. It's not just anybody can do Wonder Woman. It's like, Michael Keaton was the perfect Batman for Batman 1989. He just was the guy for the job. Ben Affleck is just a fantastic Batman. It's just what it is. For me at least. And I see Patty as the director to direct Wonder Woman. It's just don't try to replace Patty with Zack. Why would you do something stupid like that? Zack already has a lot on his plate anyway. He's got Justice League 2 and 3 to do. So no. I wouldn't. I don't care if Warner Brothers greenlit Wonder Woman, the next Wonder Woman. That's not for Zack to do. Zack has his hands full with whatever. He wants to do Justice League 2 and 3, and he should be able to do Justice League 2 and 3. That's what he should be doing. Okay? If you guys want him back in the DCU, that's what I think. I mean, Zack's a guy who wouldn't say no to that, but I don't see, honestly, the Wonder Woman movie for me is the very first Wonder Woman movie. It'll never change. It was just the right combination between the female energies and the male energies. It was just perfect. And for somebody to go out there and say, okay, we need Zack to do this. No. Don't tamper with it. Zack did the story. Jeff Johns did some of the writing. Patty Jenkins did the directing. The stunt coordinators that worked with Zack did the stunt coordinating. That movie is special. And I don't want nobody playing around, nobody messing with that. And what we just need is we need Patty to go ahead and direct and tell the stories. Okay. Maybe Jeff Johns doesn't do the story, whatever. I don't care. But ultimately at the end of the day, the only gripe I have with Wonder Woman 84, besides its lack of depth, which I don't care. It would be a really good, decent movie if it wasn't for the fact the action let it down. It was the action. It was the actual animation of the action let it down. And it was in specific spots. I can remember very vividly. Okay, where I just started laughing. And so that's what you have to understand. Okay. Movie had its gravitas and everything. It would pass for a very good Marvel movie. Okay, it passed for a very good Marvel movie wasn't for those moments. And if that's the way they want to go, Marvel, fine. I mean, that's not my thing, but I mean, you know, I think Patty merged that Marvel element into DC very, very well with the first Wonder Woman movie. It was gritty, and yet it was soft. It was, it had such a beautiful theme about it. Love. It was a gentle. It was very feminine. It was a very feminine movie, and yet a side of femininity we'd never seen before. And it's all those kinds of things that made it special. It's a very, very special movie. Like there's no other way to say it. How it came together was just very special. And of course, the most special moment in that movie was the No Man's Land scene, which ultimately wasn't about the big baddie. It wasn't about taking down anyone. And that's what makes that movie so special. It's just different. In terms of superhero movies, it's different. Patty tried to replicate it and do it again with Wonder Woman 84. And she had a great idea. And there's a lot of things in that movie that's just very positive about it. So it's just that she failed on certain things. There's certain things just won't work with audiences. Okay. So you gotta get it right. And I don't know why. Hey, Leroy Cohn, what's up? I'm on my way to work. Great live. Thank you, thank you. Yeah. I don't know why she messed with the initial combination. She should have brought back the same people who did the action for her in the first Wonder Woman. I don't know why. Maybe budget. I don't know. I don't know. But those people probably would have been able to articulate what she wanted to do with Richard Donner in a much better way. But she chose to break ties with him, so it is what it is. But it don't work. You gotta have all the ingredients in the cake to make the cake tasty. Patty. You got to. That's the only thing. Of course, you got to fight your battles and try and win your wars where you can, but you got to get the right ingredients in there to make the perfect cake. Because you may have certain ideas in your head and certain things you're seeing in your imagination, and it doesn't come to fruition on the screen the way you want it. And I think that's that. I think that's what happened with Wonder Woman. I don't know. Maybe that's exactly what she wanted. Yikes. I don't understand it because she does not do action. Patty doesn't do action. I'm telling y'all again, that's not her forte. And you have, you know, a very successful action team that worked with you before. So anyway, that's what I got with that. So me personally, my opinion is no, I don't want to see Zack Snyder do a Wonder Woman 3. I don't want to see him do Wonder Woman 3. If you say Man of Steel, now that's totally different. Okay. But if you ask me about Wonder Woman 3, nah, I'm cool. I'm cool. I've seen a woman direct a movie, where the lead woman, and I like it. Okay, I like it. She brings out that really soft side. And, yeah, Zack Snyder's an excellent director and all that, but I know his style. And it would be a challenge for him, but I don't think that's his. I don't think that's for him. I don't think it's about Zack Snyder directing every single movie in the DCEU. I don't believe that. James Wan did his thing, did his movie. Um, F. Sandberg did his movie. David F. Sandberg, he went and he directed his movie. He did his thing. You know what I mean? Patty Jenkins directed her movie, did her thing. So I mean, it's not about that. It's just for me, it was never the director that was the problem. It was just certain pieces of action that just took me, it really sent me for a loop. I mean, it started off great, and then I was all on board. You know what I'm saying? And then, I just had to laugh. There's certain parts of things, in directing and movies, it's just hilarious. And I still love the movie to some degree. It's just that, I know it's a fantastical movie. I understood that. But it's just some things just not, no, no, no. And I think the audience felt the same way. Otherwise, people would go back, watch it again in the theaters. They'd watch it again and again, and it would have made a big hoopla, and it would have made a big statement in the world. It was a very timely movie. Don't get me wrong. It's just the action let it down. So, Patty, that's necessarily your forte. You're not somebody who does action, but just get the right people to do action for your movies. That's the key. And you can make any story you want. Because remember, I understand that Wonder Woman is a fantastical, magical movie. So we get that. We're dealing with the gods and all kinds of shit. So you don't have to explain everything, but you do need to get your action right. That's the leeway that Patty gets with these movies, because Wonder Woman is a movie that's fantastical. It's already a god. You don't have to explain everything away. But the problem with the movie was, again, the action. That's all. That was all to it. If you had gotten that action right, we'd be all on board, and it would have gotten much more traction. That's it. That's all I got. That's my only critique of Wonder Woman 84. The action kind of let it down. The story was a good enough story, and I loved it because again, it ended with no violence per se. You know, she wasn't trying to take down a big baddie. The big baddie realized, that he had made a wrong decision, a wrong choice. And again, once again, we see the loving nature of Wonder Woman conquering the day. So, I mean, you can't beat that. You really can't beat that. And, that's the way how I like these movies. So, ultimately was a Wonder Woman movie through and through. And nobody disputed if Gal was Wonder Woman or she's acting like Wonder Woman. Nobody. That's like Gal's Wonder Woman. And you know what's so cool? We get to see Gal do multiple iterations of this character. We see Gal in BVS, the character that's kind of hiding in the shadows. We see Gal in Wonder Woman 84, young, naive, coming out the shadows and leading the charge. We see Gal in Justice League. We're going to see her as a team leader, a seasoned, leader who leads the charge and sort of glues the team together. Then we're gonna see, and then we saw Gal in Wonder Woman 84, and a mature Wonder Woman, but one hoping and wishing for some things from the past and trying to connect with the past. So it's just like all these different gambits of the character, and Gal's got like Wonder Woman's got the most screenplay out of all of the superheroes so far. She's been in 4 movies. You know what I'm saying? Extraordinary. And we've been able to explore this character more than probably all the other characters. So this is going to be great to see Gal in Justice League. I noticed I did not speak about Wonder Woman in the theatrical cut because I personally think the theatrical cut is not canon, and I think Patty Jenkins and we agree on that. And I think Patty Jenkins needs to get that protection from other directors, whether it be James Wan, Zack Snyder, Christopher Nolan. We need the directors need to come together and protect each other. I don't care if Patty Jenkins has a different point of view to Zack Snyder. I really couldn't give a damn. This is about the directors and what their vision is. And we may not fully be on board with their vision, but the one thing I'm going to fiercely protect is the director's decision to make that decision. Because you need to have that freedom to direct whatever the heck you want to direct and whatever story you want to tell. You know what I'm saying? And so I respect and I fiercely respect Patty Jenkins' decision to make this movie the way how she wanted to make it. I fiercely respect that. I fiercely respect David F. Sandberg's decision to make the movie of Shazam however he wanted to make it. I wasn't caught up on Shazam. I'll be honest with you, I still haven't watched the movie in its completeness. But I respect that. I respect James Wan's direction of Aquaman. All I am saying is, please respect Zack Snyder's decision to make Justice League, Man of Steel, and Batman v Superman the way he thought he wanted to make it. I'm not telling you to like his movie. That's for all the fans out there. I'm not telling you guys to like this movie. I never said you have to like this movie, but I like the movies. And if I like the movies, why are you coming in there and trying to dump on my experience? Of course, if you watch the movie and you want to give your honest take on it, absolutely, 100%. But a lot of times, the people who are talking about Zack Snyder's movies and trashing them, it's just a hate. It's a hate. You can hear the hate coming out of their mouths. You don't see any hate coming out of my mouth for Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman, right? And if I don't like a certain style of movie making, why am I going in there to watch it? Why am I if this is I give my greatest example. I watched Infinity War. I knew I was not going to probably like it. And I didn't like it. So what did I do? What did I do? Did I go and watch Avengers Endgame? Hell no. Hell no. You was never going to catch me dead watching that shit. Hell no. I knew this is not my kind of movie making. Marvel doesn't make movies for me. So I need to keep my ass out of there. So that people who are excited about Endgame and they start talking to me about Endgame, I'll say to them, listen, that's just not my kind of movie. Honestly. And I didn't watch it. And some of them are like, you didn't watch Endgame? And I'm like, yeah, I didn't watch it. Because that's not my kind of movie, bro. I could just tell you, I watched Infinity War, didn't pay for it. I actually watched it, which was terrible, but I watched it. A very, I watched a very good, what do you call it? I watched a very good rip off, whatever, of it. Okay, it's good quality and everything, and I watched it and I hated it. I hated it every step of the way. Of it just annoyed me. And it's just not my personality to like those kinds of movies. I don't like movies down to the design was cheap to me. What people criticize Zack Snyder's movies for, I feel exactly the same way about how Marvel movies. So, and I don't want to go into that. I don't want to be negative and I don't want to mess up other people's experience. But quite frankly, unless it's X-Men, this is the thing. Oh, but some Spider-Man movies have been good, but the latest Spider-Man movies, I don't dig them either. It's like I don't like them. I just don't like them. I hate them. So instead of just talking about what you hate and really other people who love these movies and holding on to them, kind of dampering on them about the look, I'm not even interested in. Let me explain to you guys, like the Falcon and Winter Soldier movie that's coming out a little bit in the future. I haven't watched the trailer. I haven't, like, I'm not interested in it. WandaVision, which everybody's going off on, I haven't watched anything there. Anything that you could say that has to do with the MCU, I haven't been watching it because that's just not my thing. I know it. I go watch it and I'm gonna be perturbed and I'm gonna be very angry that I watched it. It's not that I have a block against the MCU. It's just the way how they make movies. And all their movies look the same to me, and all their movies have jokes. All their fucking movies have jokes. And it just annoys me. There's no, how some people say, oh, DC takes movies too seriously. Well, the MCU takes movie making as a joke and they just make a whole spoof off of it. Like for them, filmmaking and movie making doesn't exist. They just do digital whatever. And to me, that's just the whole thing seems like a big laugh. And I'm not into that. I'm just not into that. That's my major gripe with the MCU. And they do everything to me, in my opinion, half ass. Like their stuff just looks cheap. To say it, there's no other way to say it. Their worlds and their everything looks cheap and fake as hell. And I just can't deal with their universe. I can't. Like I can't watch it. So I don't watch it. All right? That's my honest opinion about the whole thing. And their strategy and their game plan seems fake. Not to mention they try to rip off Zack Snyder's movies anyway. So I get like get it. I'm like, without me busting the S bomb on people when they say that's how I feel about it viscerally. But I don't behave with people like that because they're people who actually love this stuff. They love Marvel. They love Marvel movies. And they believe that Marvel is supreme and everything. So and that's their attitude. So I just let them be what they are. But for me, I'm an older guy, been around for a while. I enjoyed movies like um, you know, enjoy intellectual movies and I enjoy movies that not necessarily are comic book movies, to be honest with you. I don't need to have a comic book movie, but for me, I enjoy movies that have a little bit of substantive oomph in them. I like those kinds of movies. So that's my kind of take on things. Um, and just because you call yourself a comic book movie doesn't necessarily mean to me that you are necessarily giving homage to the comic books. Yeah, if I pick up a comic book and I read it, you know, at least in my time, I don't know how comic books are now. They had a substantive amount of oomph. They had something extra in them, usually, at least back in my time. I don't know for now. Um, and the comic book writers would go in every single different kind of direction. And I just don't get that feel with Marvel movies. Like Marvel movies, nothing about them seems authentic. Everything feels studio driven. Be honest with you, feels like some kind of committee was there because they all look the same. To me, they all look the same. They have this. Uh, they just look the same. Um, that's all I got to say about that. I think James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one and the second one, um, stand out for what I think Marvel movies really are. I think this is where they really want to be at. And I think they're the truest version of the Marvel movies. And because they're so honest to what the universe is, I tend to appreciate those movies more. So James Gunn's not Suicide Squad, Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2, hands down. I think those I really appreciated those movies. I always appreciate the earlier Marvel movies, Captain America, First Avenger, Iron Man, the very first Iron Man. You know, I've really appreciated those, especially the first Captain America. Just the special effects and everything, and the story was just fantastic. But of late, I just really didn't enjoy anything that the MCU has had to offer. And there's a bunch of people just like me. It's not that they're picking DC over it. I enjoyed X Men. Enjoyed the X Men franchise, for example. You know, that's a Marvel franchise. I enjoyed certain versions of Star Wars and certain Star Wars movies. And some of it's not popular. Like lots of people didn't like The Last Jedi. I enjoyed it. Uh, I haven't watched the other two. So, or other one, whatever it was. I never watched the final one. I wanted to see it, but I never watched it. What I'm trying to say to people is, for me, when you're talking about comic book movies, I just have different taste. Uh, People like maybe literal things. They say that, for example, the MCU comic book movies, just to go back to the MCU, you see a comic book flipping across the stage as it's introing an MCU movie. And so I think because of that, people say, "Oh yeah, this is true to their comics," but never really, to me, those movies are not true to comics. They may be true to maybe animated series or something, but to me, they're not true to the comics. But hey, to each his own. Um, what I was going to say was, so yes, Patty Jenkins. I think Patty Jenkins is great. She's a great director. I think she's good. I don't think Zack should be directing a Wonder Woman movie. But if he wants to do his alternate version of Wonder Woman, I ain't gonna say no. But that'd be Elseworld. I would not see that as canon. I'm sorry. That's gonna be an Elseworld um, Wonder Woman, in my opinion. You know, I know that Zack's doing Elseworld. He's saying he's describing the Justice League that's coming out as the Elseworld Justice League. I mean, he's free to describe it however he wants to. Me personally, I think I'm gonna let it be canon. I want that to be canon. so I disagree with Zach on that. I think it should be canon. And Patty agrees with me. Patty agrees that Justice League that Josh Whedon did is not canon for her. I agree. I agree 100%. See, there's things that different directors may disagree on, and I think they should agree on certain things. And I just think that, for example, James Wan. James Wan did not build off of Justice League. He built off of Zack Snyder's Justice League. That's why I can't understand why Warner Brothers would say that's not canon. And Zack would be like, okay, it's not canon. I don't understand because like Patty's building off of what Zack did, or at least off of something, right? And James Wan's building off of what Zack did, and James Wan just put his own spin on it, which is awesome. I mean, my point anyway is this: that I just appreciate, I appreciate Patty, and I appreciate James Wan. I appreciate David F. Sandberg, and I even appreciate the director who did the Harley Quinn movie. Okay, those movies didn't resonate with me as much. But then again, I was really pushing for the Snyder Cut at the time, and I didn't really care about any other DC movie. And maybe I didn't give these. Well, all those movies had a kind of, I don't know, man. I don't even know if the studio interfered in most of those movies. I wouldn't be surprised if they did. You know, or maybe not. But at the end of the day, those movies are great in terms of the directors wanting to get their vision. If that's what the directors wanted, then I ain't got no problem with it. Okay. My thing is that I am not just for Zack Snyder and seeing him direct every single DCEU movie or micromanage directors that do their movies. Christopher Nolan wasn't like that. And I don't really particularly like the Dark Knight trilogy, but Christopher Nolan gave Zack Snyder the space for Zack Snyder to do Zack. And Zack Snyder should give all the other directors the space for them to do themselves. All right, that's just the way it should be. And the studio should keep the fuck out of those movies. I don't care. It's director driven. Let the directors do what they want to do. Warner Brothers, you hired them to do the job. Let them do their damn job. Okay, and sometimes it's a hit, sometimes it's a miss. It's not a formula. It doesn't need to be like the MCU. It doesn't need to be like the MCU. It doesn't even need to get the fan base like the MCU fan base. What it needs to do is allow the directors that you hired to tell their stories. That's all. That's all. Let them tell their stories, and I'm pretty sure they'll do well. Some movies will miss, some movies will hit. That's what it is. And so, for me, you know, this is how I feel about it. I feel that Patty Jenkins is the best possible director out there to direct Wonder Woman movie. Ava DuVernay, I think she's going to do a great job with New Gods. Okay? And just because Zack Snyder is introducing the New Gods before Ava DuVernay doesn't mean that she can't do a great job with the New Gods. And this is the thing I don't understand. Oh, well, Zack's going to set a bar that Ava DuVernay can't match. Says who? Says who? You don't know. You don't know. Ava DuVernay did a great job with her one of the movies I saw, and she's a great director. So all I'm saying is, I believe in the directors. I believe they can do their takes. Now, it's not absolutely necessary that Ava DuVernay does exactly what Zack Snyder does, and it's going to be a different take. And that's all it is. You don't have to like the take. You can love the take. It's a different take. Why can't it be just a different take? They do it in the comic book movie. They do it in the comic books. Why can't they not do it in film? I mean, I don't understand. I don't understand why Warner Brothers is trying to stop Zack Snyder from shooting movies that he's just great at. Why are you trying to cap this dude? I don't understand it. Why you didn't want Zack Snyder's Justice League to come out? Why? Because everybody would be blown away and be like, "Oh, Zack's the greatest comic book movie ever, and nobody can do it like that." That's the only problem you have. I mean, come on, man! It's an ego trip if that's the only problem you have. Because Zack will do it Zack's way. Ava DuVernay will do it Ava DuVernay's way. Patty Jenkins will do it Patty Jenkins' way. David Ayer's gonna do it David Ayer's way. You should be happy and celebrating that. You got different directors having their different takes on the characters. That's what you want. That's what DC's all about. That's what DC writers do. Why is this a problem? Like Warner Bros., you got it. You got the absolute antithesis to what Marvel's doing. You have the remedy. You have a universe where you can get different takes on different characters. Like you're putting out a Batman movie with Robert Pattinson. It's not connected to the Batman that we have. And you can run simultaneously 3-4 Batman movies if you wanted to. Because DC allows that. That's what the power and the beauty of DC. You can have a connected universe and yet tell different stories. I, Zack Snyder's Justice League's perfect for setting the template for Flashpoint. And yes, the director that you hired to do Flashpoint can still do it. I don't get it. I don't know why Warner Brothers is having this tremendous problem with understanding that there's something called the multiverse, and therefore it sets allows directors to do whatever they want with a character. Like that's the perfect thing. So that if I don't like the CW, I can at least watch Zack Snyder's Justice League or a Snyderverse. So if I don't like the CW, I can go to the Snyderverse. If I don't like the Snyderverse, I can go to DC streaming, the DC Universe streaming. If I don't like the DC Universe streaming, I could go to Sci-Fi and watch Krypton or something like that. In other words, as Jim Lee so correctly said, there's something for everyone. I thought everybody would be happy with that. So if you don't like Zack Snyder's movies, then you can go watch something else. That way, Warner Brothers always makes money. Always. They can't lose out. Because you got something more than the MCU. MCU has a formula. You guys decided we're going creatively with the directors. Wherever they want to go. And you make money across the board. It's such a smart idea. And I can't believe that Warner Brothers drops the ball every single time. Walter Hamada. Justice League. The Snyder Cut is a cul-de-sac. The stupidest statement I've ever heard anybody say. First of all, DC doesn't live by that rule. That's not the DC way. DC says Justice League 1, 2, 3 done. Okay? It's like a comic book run. And you just let the comic book run to its end. And then that's that. So I just don't get it. And Zack Snyder is as comic booky as you'll get. He's as comic booky as you get. I don't get it, man. You got all these other directors who never directed comic book movies. You have a director that directed comic book movies. Has more experience than everybody else in directing comic book movies on the DC side. Patty Jenkins never directed a comic book movie. James Wan didn't direct a comic book movie. The dude who's directing The Flash has never directed a comic book movie. Zack has all that experience in directing comic book movies and knows how to direct comic book movies. And we're not saying that the other directors need to copy his style or anything like that. But what I'm saying is, you got this guy that got all this experience in directing comic book movies that other directors I've seen admired his work and decided to put some of his stuff into their movies. And instead of letting this guy finish his vision, in which we have 2 more parts of Justice League to go, they're instead trying to stymie him, tell him that he doesn't have good ideas, tell him he doesn't know what he's doing. And you're trying to tell him, nah, your universe is up, buddy. And your movies and what you're going to do, it's the last hurrah. You ain't going to get no more. You cannot get to finish your 2 and 3. That's what I don't understand. I just don't get it. That makes no goddamn sense. None. Zip. Zero. That's my problem. Problem's not with the other directors that you hired that doing the job that you want them to do. It's with the one that you hired to do a job and you don't want him to finish his job, even though he's the most qualified to do his job and has been the most successful out of all your directors except for James Wan. He's been the most successful director. He's grossing more money than James Wan. He's grossing more money in his movies than James Wan did in his. So why are you attacking the guy who will allow you to do what you want to do anyway? I don't understand it. But yeah, nobody wants to see Zack do Wonder Woman 3. I don't want to see it. It's not necessary. If Zack wants to direct, though, his version of Wonder Woman, an alternate version, a Elseworld version, sure. But I always believe Patty Jenkins is the one to do it. Just that she may need to collab with some people who know how to do action a lot better than she has been doing so far. So she can get the absolute to the T crystallization on certain things. Because I don't think people already have a certain image of Wonder Woman. And when you do those weird action scenes, it kind of distorts their view of Wonder Woman or the movie itself. Certain things, even Marvel doesn't do. You know what I mean? I want to just read something because I sent out a whole bunch of uh, ads to different people on my messenger. So I sent out this one, and a guy just responded to me from one of my friends, Edward. He said, I know I can't wait. I also want an air cut of Suicide Squad now because of the Joker, of course. So, this is the kind of thing I'm talking about where people are excited for these movies. There's a lot of excitement going on. Let me talk about one more thing. I was on Twitter and I saw some people bashing or seeking to bash. They're very few in number, but nonetheless, seeking to bash Zack Snyder's work. And they come back with the same foolishness that we hear over and over again. Oh, his CGI is bad. And these guys would go on and on about bad CGI, which is non existent. We all know his CGI is just fine. And they repeat the mantra over and over again. It's kind of like the Martha line mantra. It makes no fucking sense, but it's a meme because of clueless people. Now, we know for a fact that the people who are doing these things or trying to agitate these situations, I know we shouldn't give power to them, but nonetheless, I'm going to discuss it. These people who are doing that, we know for a fact someone is paying them to do that. And I once upon a time thought that these people were Marvel fans. Now there's some Marvel fans who come up on DC sites because some DC fans have been comparing DC to Marvel and saying, "Oh, this movie will blow away Marvel and blah blah blah." Yes, there's some DC fans who are saying that. Okay, but by and large, the people who are saying, poor CG or whatever, which have not a foot to stand on, these people are by and large DC fans. And when I look at them, I realize when I look at their accounts and their background They're Jeff Johns DC fans. And so Jeff Johns is still trying to sabotage in the background behind top Toby Emmerich and behind Walter Amada. He's still trying to weave his weave in the background. And the fact that they come back with no new points, just the same old nonsense, tells me that Jeff Johns has been trying. I gotta say it. He's been trying to sabotage Zack Snyder for the longest while, so he can get the universe he wants. Our Green Lantern failure 2011 universe. That's what he's trying to get. He's still trying to claw his way into power. As you can see, the excitement for the DC universe, respect to all the directors and everybody, has waned because Jeff Johns is getting what he wants. And now he's going to have Greg Berlanti move across. More CW Marvel advised people. You know. Mortal Kombat. Again, Marvelized people brought in to do Mortal Kombat. The Marvelization of the the universe. I told you guys that I thought Aquaman was becoming Marvelized. I was right. They Marvelized Suicide Squad. Then they tried to Marvelize Wonder Woman. And they had some sort of success. But it was mostly still gritty and grounded. Then they tried to Marvelize Justice League. Well, they failed with that one majorly. Then they tried to Marvelize Aquaman. Aquaman was supposed to be darker. I know it. I remember the icon of Aquaman and what it was supposed to be. And a lot of things will change. Then they Marvelized Shazam. Shazam is a funny character, no doubt about it, and it's a kid and all that. But again, the studio is doing this. There is a push. It's not just David F. Sandberg. Okay, because David F. Sandberg does horror, right? And then they go and they Marvelize Wonder Woman. We've been seeing this happening. They even Marvelized Harley Quinn. It was supposed to be rated R. And yes, Harley Quinn is a crazy character and all that, but the themes in there, I was watching the themes, and it's very Marvel-like. So what I'm saying is that's the drive they're going with. They're trying to make DC into Marvel, which is stupid. DC's DC. It's not Marvel. you know. And they think, for some reason, they think that the animated movies of DC, the animated movies of DC are hardcore. They're getting even more hardcore right now. right? So I don't know why they're doing that. And it's just whatever. So basically, what I'm saying is that I'm not against Marvel. Do your thing. Do your thing. It's just not for me. And I'm not here to bash Marvel either. I don't like the movies. It's me. I don't have time to watch them. I'll watch other stuff. Okay. So that's where my entertainment goes. But for those people who go up in there and trying to say stupid things to tear down a movie because they're angry that Zack Snyder is getting to do his movie and getting shine on it, and you have an agenda where you're trying to push Jeff Johns' agenda to take down him. Let me just make it abundantly clear. To those people, you see how far you've fallen. Okay? You've seen how you failed to take out Zack Snyder's movie, and you failed to destroy the Snyderverse. It's to destroy the Snyderverse. I don't understand. Because nobody's feeling the need to destroy the CW verse, the Arrowverse. Nobody's feeling the need to destroy the DCU online. Nobody. We're not trying to destroy those things. You know, I don't watch them, but that doesn't mean I want to destroy them. So why the need to destroy the Snyderverse? Why the need to get rid of Zack Snyder? That's the part I don't understand. Why are you so fiercely against this man? The Snyderverse can exist, and your universe can exist, and the CW can exist. So what's the problem? Why do you feel the need to destroy it? That's why I said these are Jeff John shills. Okay, Emmerich, Hamada, and John's shills. They tried to destroy Zack Snyder, a guy who Christopher Nolan personally wanted to do these movies in this universe. So I don't understand it. I think it's more politics and Hollywood bullshit that's going on and egos. And to be honest with you, I would just like to see the last of that regime get flushed out of there. Walter Hamada and Toby Everett, just get rid of them. That's my personal preference. Get rid of those guys, clear slate, and start afresh. You know? Because it's obvious that they don't have their movies, they don't have Warner Brothers' interest at heart. They have their own agenda at heart. And so it's Jason Kilar and Sarnoff and those kinds of people with HBO Max and with Warner Media who have been pushing and prodding them in the direction. This is the only reason why Zack Snyder's movies come out. If it was up to Walter Hamada and Toby Emmerich, no matter what they tell you, that movie never would have seen the light of day. Because Jeff Johns didn't want it to see the light of day. So it's clear that Jeff Johns, Joss Whedon, Danny Elfman, and now Walter Hamada, these people from DC Films, that they don't have the interests of the DC at heart as much as they say. Now Walter Hamada has good organizational skills. He can manage a budget and get smaller budgets for the films to be made, and probably that's why Warner Brothers is still keeping him. Toby Emmerich, he's trying to hold on to his job because Toby Emmerich works with Walter Hamada. They came from the same studio. But quite frankly, you know, these guys have pretty much put their foot down in the sand and they side with Jeff Johns in terms of what Jeff Johns wants. Because Jeff Johns, obviously being a comic book writer and advisor and so on, has his hands in several different projects, you know, some of which are coming to an end. He's going to get phased out. But the point is, not to say that Jeff Johns is not a talented, skilled writer, especially of comic book movies, and a great advisor and so on. But it's just that, sadly, he has an agenda where he feels that he must be involved in every single process. And the fact that he was left out of Man of Steel, and David Goyer, Christopher Nolan, and Zack Snyder were the principals for that movie, his ego can't allow him to let that go. And so he has had a thing against Zack Snyder since then. But anything he puts his hand on doesn't do very, very well if he's the principal. Remember, he was a principal for Green Lantern, and that thing flopped like a mother. Okay? He's supposed to be the authority, talking like he's the authority on Superman, or heroes should be hopeful and blah 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 blah. Yeah, he couldn't make a proper Superman movie. He was there when Superman Returns happened. It was supposed to be the perfect homage to Christopher Reeve. And ain't nobody give a damn about it. This Wonder Woman 84 movie, perfect homage to Richard Donner. And what happened? Okay, then. So it's better if Jeff Johns would leave the movie making aspects to people who make movies. You know, you're secondary, you're advisor. Sure, you can fill in the blanks, but let the directors do their thing. I think he was a writer of Aquaman as well. So that's all I got to say for now on that. But it's something I've noticed in social media, and we're going to respond to people like that. We're going to let them know, hey, no, 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 don't come with that nonsense this time around. Uh, Zack Snyder, if there's one thing everybody knows about Zack Snyder is visually he's beautiful. He makes a spectacle. So when you say, "Oh, that's poor CGI," people watching you like, "Are you out of your fucking mind?" Sorry about the F-bomb. Are you out of your mind? Are you crazy? You lost your marbles. It's Zack Snyder we're talking about. You know what I mean? People are not taking that crap anymore. So that's my 2 cents on Chris Wong's what he said via I forgot what her name is. Um, it's coming to me and it's disappearing. But she's been reporting on stuff and she's been getting interviews and so on. And hopefully people respect Zach's work. I'm seeing some people trying to be negative, like I said before, but we could tell we know they geeked out on the film. They geeked their ass out first, and then afterwards, now they have to put this face on this movie and say certain things to please their demographic. But we know they geeked out like crazy. I mean, geez and ages. Did you see the last couple of trailers, man? You saw the last couple of trailers. Oh, jeez, man. The teasers with the Steppenwolf and Darkseid. I mean, Steppenwolf CGI is not complete. I could see some aspects. They're still finishing up certain things. You could tell they're working on certain stuff. But my goodness, man. Shit. This movie, man. And guess what? We got less than 7 days, ladies and gentlemen. Less than 7 days before this movie comes out. Oh man. Oh man. It's gonna be great. So that's my take on things. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Um, I stream early. Um, oh, I got one more thing, you guys. Now, if you guys go to my um, community section, you can see the breakdown globally on how you can access this movie in your given region. Now, most of the access is actually going to happen on the day, on the 18th, everybody be able to access. So make sure you got a credit card or a debit card where you can do online purchases. You can do it on Google Play, so you can use that to do it. I did my last purchase on Google Play, or Apple TV or whatever it is. For us, the people who are outside of the U.S., the internationals, we're going to have to do it on an app, maybe Google Play or some other app, Apple TV. Well, it's all broken down. It's all broken down by country. So you go to DC Universe Online, and they have the whole breakdown, the international breakdown, how people can access the movie. Now, for those of you who don't want the movie spoiled for you, all you got to do, you don't have to come off of Twitter. You don't have to come off of social media. What you do is anybody spoiling the movie before the embargo is lifted, all you got to do is report them. Okay? Just report them. So that's where we're going with this. Now, okay, there's another thing I need to say. Oh, shit. I should have spread that. I think I did, but I'm gonna still go and try and find the video. There was a guy who wanted to do a Hallelujah song, uh, how the Pentatonics has done it, and wanted all of the people from the Snyder Cut to join in and put your videos together before the 12th. So the 12th is a Sunday. So you guys could probably look forward to doing that. There's that. Of course, there's a lot of breakdown and meetings and online streaming with people together on here. But I just wanted to leave my 2 cents into the equation. I got to get out of here now and go do some stuff. But I'll catch you guys later. The Snyder Cut, man. The Snyder Cut. Oh, snap it, dap it, dap it, do. I think so. Yeah, I'll check that out. So that's what I got for you guys for today. Um, I wanted to talk on it because Chris Wong was talking about it, and I thought I forgot what her name is. I just can't remember her name for nothing. So hopefully you guys are checking out the interviews and all those other things on social media. And don't worry about the movie not being spoiled. Anyway, if it even if it is spoiled, you're gonna go in anyway, and you're gonna watch it multiple times because the spectacle of it is just something. All right, people, I'm gonna catch you guys later. Christ damn disciple out. Oh, let me leave a piece of scripture with you guys. Sorry about the F bombs that I curse with. I'm trying to amp it down. It's still taking a little while. All right. Let me leave a piece of scripture with you guys. So the scripture for today that I want to say is blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. But that's not enough. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. And just to break down those two, very simple. The first one is don't hold any malice or hatred against people. Nobody's perfect in this world, and you're going to see the dark side of people, and you're going to see the light side of people. When people are on their dark side, by all means, do not disrespect them. You can still confront them with truth, but don't disrespect them. And understand they're people just like yourself would make mistakes. Therefore, you should be willing always to go the higher road, give them a second chance. Wipe the slate clean on them and say, oh, probably they're having a bad day, or this is just the bad side of them. We all have it. So that's being merciful. And being merciful doesn't mean that you're a better person than the other person. It just means that you understand that you're not a better person than the other person, and that we all make mistakes. And the other one is very important because by being merciful, you keep your mind clean. You keep your mind cleared of all that junk and in the trunk of malice, greed, or hatred, or something you have against somebody. You have nothing against anybody. And by doing so, you're able to hear God speak to you and be able to be kind to other people. In spite of your flaws, in spite of the fact that they're treating you badly. So I just wanted to leave that with you guys because, we need something to hold on to all the time. And I thought about those two pieces of scripture, the Beatitudes, they're called. It's found in Matthew 21. You can go check them out in the Bible. I haven't picked up a Bible in a while, but that doesn't mean that it's not. I don't forget the words in the Bible. And I think that's something that if we could just give people a second chance to redeem themselves, sometimes we just get to see, first impressions are lasting, but sometimes we just get to see somebody on their bad side. You guys have seen me on my bad side, right? And that's not necessarily the totality of a person, right? There's also the good side of a person. And it's just unfortunate that sometimes we don't bring out the best in each other. And sometimes we need to be a little patient with people
Even when I talk about Jeff Johns, even when I talk about all these other people I talk about, yeah, okay, that's the bad side of them, but there is a good side to them. And there's good things in all people, even the people who have done the worst possible things you could think about. So everybody deserves a second chance. Um, and that's where mercy comes in. And mercy's been given to each and every one of us every time we wake up every morning and we inhale air and we have some degree of health in our bodies. So, guys, just think about that and try to be more compassionate, caring, and try to be more, the word I'm looking for is thoughtful about other people. And sometimes some things just, you just need to let them go, and that's for myself as well. I'm talking to myself as I'm talking to you guys. Christianity, or what I practice, what I call Christianity, it's not necessarily Christianity, but just treating others as you would like to be treated, the golden rule, is really the crux of everything, in my opinion. You know, if you want to be treated with respect, respect other people. If you want to be loved, love other people. If you want to be forgiven, forgive other people. It's really that simple. And I'm not higher than you because I forgave you. Some people like to hold that over another person's head. Oh, I forgave him. I forgave him already, blah. And then you didn't forgive him. If you got to say you forgave somebody and you haven't forgotten that you've forgiven them, then you haven't forgiven them because you're holding that thing against them. What does it mean to forgive? It means to give somebody a second chance and not hold what they did against you. So if you have to remember what they did against you, then you're holding it against them. And you haven't forgiven them. Because when the situation comes up, you're going to remind them, hey, man, this is what you did. Therefore, you didn't forgive them. Forgiveness means I'm not going to hold this against you. I don't want to remember that you did it. I'm going to keep that away. And some people say, well, I want to protect myself. So why would I not remember what these people did to me? Yeah, okay. So you keep a mental note of it in the sense that this person could do that again. Okay, so let me just make sure I don't put myself in a situation where they can put it, right? I understand that. That's the mental note. But what I'm talking about is you reminding them that you forgave them for something. That's not forgiveness. If you got to remind them that, don't have to go there. If they're doing it again, you say, hey, man, you're doing this again. That's all you need to say if you're going to say something. Right? Because, of course, if you forgive, let's say somebody comes to your home, robs your home, you get back your stuff, right? But you don't press charges. You say, hey, man, just don't do it again. You don't press. But they come back to your home again and rob your home, and this time they rob your home and shoot your kid. Doesn't die. You find them, get back your stuff. Now, are you going to report them or not? I mean, how many times does that have to happen? And it gets worse and worse every time. So I get where people, but you don't need to hold your forgiveness over their head so that they don't do it again. Like, listen, man, I forgave you the first time. Don't you dare try. I need to do that. All right, people. So I'm out of here. Have a good day. Peace.